Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Mara. If you did not know, if you're new, thanks for joining us today. If you're not new, then you would know my favorite book genre probably is a good old sports romance. We're gathered here today to talk about two very important things in my life, one of which obviously books, but then we're gonna narrow it down a little bit further and talk about a specific genre, sports romances, and today I'm going to be recommending you guys some sports romance books. I have talked about sports romances a million times on my channel. Some of these books have appeared numerous times in different tags, recommendations videos, getting out of a book slump, reading vlogs, all of that. So some of these books you've probably heard of before, but if I'm telling you about them 50,000 times, that means you should probably read them. I don't make the rules except I do, because this is my channel and I do what I want. We're gonna start with my favorite, hockey. You guys know I am a hockey romance girly. I love all things hockey. So in light of NHL All-Stars being last week, it just seems fitting that we start off with hockey. Right here, this is where I send all of my book friends to start out if they are getting into sports romances or just getting into reading at all. I always start out with this series because this is really what skyrocketed my obsession with reading, my love for sports romances, especially hockey, and that is no other than the Off-Campus series. This is the first book. I could have grabbed all of them off my shelf, but it's a lot and I didn't want to have to struggle to put them all back up. So I just grabbed the deal. This is the OG cover, the first publication. As you can see, in comparison to some other books, it's like giant. The deal is following Hannah and Garrett, and they basically make a deal with each other. Hannah is going to tutor Garrett so that he can pass his classes and continue to play for the school's hockey team, and then Garrett is going to help Hannah get the guy that she wants. But then of course, forced proximity, they end up catching feelings for each other because this is a romance book. Everybody just adores these two characters, I think, above any of the other ones in this series. And then following into the Briar U series by L. Kennedy, which is kind of a spin-off series. It follows the same school but a different graduating class, I think is probably the easiest way to describe it. This is just such a good starting point. There are quick chapters, not super long, good banter, fun characters if I haven't already said that, and it's just really easy to get attached to it because it kind of has the found family aspect where they just have a friend group that's like really tight. They're not family, they're teammates, best friends, girlfriends that just kind of gain connections because of who they're dating, and then their boyfriends, teammates, girlfriends coming in. They have a tight-knit friend group, which kind of gives off the found family vibe. If that is another trope that you like, I highly recommend this series to literally anybody. I think it's so fun and so easy. Once you finish the Off-Campus and Briar U series, then you can dive into the Graham Effect by L. Kennedy. This follows, spoiler alert, Hannah and Garrett's daughter. Not the greatest book I've ever read, but maybe because I was attached to these characters and there were cameos from everybody in these series, I was so obsessed and I just could not put this book down. Super cute, and I love the characters. I love seeing like little bits of Gigi, who is Garrett's daughter, kind of come out when certain things were happening, and you could just see like certain traits of Garrett and Hannah like in Gigi, and it was just so cute. I felt like the development of the child in this book was so perfectly connected to the parents, if that makes sense. It really felt like she was actually a child of these two characters, and you got bits of them both in her instead of just being like, this is the kid, but like you don't really see the parent like traits in the child, you know what I mean? I felt like this book did a really good job of doing that, so highly recommend this one. Of course, if we're talking hockey romance, we have to talk about the UCMH series, which features Icebreaker, one of my favorite hockey books ever, and then Wildfire. Icebreaker follows Nate and Anastasia. Everybody kind of knows the story and you can get a glimpse of it from the front, so I'm not going to say too much because it's quite obvious and a lot of people already know and have already read this book. I love this book so much. Everybody knows, like, I love this book and I need to reread it very soon. Really cute, reverse grumpy sunshine. There are a lot of tropes in here that are just great, and it's such an easy read. I don't remember the chapters being too long. The banter in this book was just so great. The tension, so good. Then when you finish this, you don't have to. I guess these are interconnected standalones, but you should read Wildfire. And Wildfire is following Russ and Aurora, and Russ plays hockey with Nate on the same team. They graduated college and now they're kind of like, okay, what are we gonna do? Russ and Aurora end up going back to their summer camp they would go to as kids, and they end up as camp counselors. This is post-party hookup with these two characters. If you kind of want a little bit of hockey but not a lot, he's a hockey player. There's not a lot of hockey talk. Highly recommend this. The characters in this book also do have cameos in here, so if you enjoyed Icebreaker, definitely go into this. This isn't super hockey heavy, but it's in this series. He is a hockey player. So I thought I should put it in. Not super hockey related, but he does play hockey. I recently read the Playing for Keeps series, and this is 3 books so far. I don't know how many books it's going to be. I gave the first book in this series a 5-star, and that is Consider Me. It follows Carter and Olivia. Carter is NHL's resident bad boy, obviously, because you can't have an NHL player without him being a bad boy in these books. I don't know. That's just how it goes. I don't understand it. He is kind of known for just being able to pull all these girls, has all these hookups, blah, 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 blah. Like, we know this already because this is how sports romances go. And especially in a hockey romance, like, he has all the girls, blah, 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 whatever. Like, when his teammate's girlfriend brings her friend along, Olivia, and he meets Olivia and he tries to hook up with her and Olivia turns him down, he's down for the challenge because he's like, why is this girl turning me down? Like, no girl turns me down. I'm Carter Beckett. Nobody turns me down. So he keeps fighting for this girl, and it is so funny the way he tries to get her attention, the things he does to make her notice him, and then of course at some point she gives in, and I just adored their relationship. It was just so fun, so funny, so light. I was reading fantasy books, so this was a really great palate cleanser, but it was still interesting. You know, a lot of palate cleansers are kind of cheesy, quick reads so that you can just get your mind on something else really quick before diving back into something more heavy. It was a palate cleanser, but it was still like meaningful to me. It meant a lot, and I adored this book. I adored the characters. Next book in this series is Play With Me. I didn't love this one. It follows Garrett, who is a teammate with Carter and then Carter's little sister. It's kind of protective brother's best friend vibe, where he really is just kind of sent by Carter to watch over her because they live in the same apartment building. So Carter's basically like, hey, go check on her every so often. She's kind of handling a lot. Just make sure she's good. Keep me updated with like all things Jenny. Just make sure she's okay. Forced proximity. And then of course he kind of develops a protective vibe over her. And then obviously there's secret relationship because they can't tell Carter that they are together or that they're doing things. Finally, so far in that series, it wraps up with Unravel Me. This follows Adam Lockwood, who isn't that a character in Vampire Diaries, or am I losing my mind? I don't know. Oh, it's Tyler Lockwood. I kept imagining him as Adam. So it follows Adam and Rosie and Adam have this cute little meet cute as they're on a hike with their dogs. Rosie volunteers at this shelter and she's taking this dog out for a walk and then meets Adam, who's walking his dog. Rosie is a single mom and Adam steps in, but the whole catch here is that he is hiding the fact that he is a very, very reputable, very famous NHL goalie, because for once somebody sees him as somebody other than Adam Lockwood, NHL goalie. He loves that and he's obsessed with Rosie. He really likes her and he doesn't want her to know that he is a famous hockey player because he doesn't want to be taken advantage of, because that's happened in the past. I also read Unsteady and I really, really loved that book. It's by Peyton Corinne. It's kind of icebreaker where it's the hockey player and the figure skater. She's a little grumpy. She has a lot on her plate and she is trying to support her 2 younger brothers because she has kind of a divided family and it's kind of a messy home life. A little more intense and a little heavier. It deals with a lot of mental health issues, panic attacks, anxiety, family trauma. It's a little heavier, but if you like icebreaker, I would highly recommend Unsteady by Peyton Corinne. Obviously don't expect the same kind of stuff, but just the tropes are there. You guys have heard me say it a million times. Collide. One of my favorite hockey romance books ever. It follows Summer and Aiden. They're paired together because Aiden decides he wants to get into some trouble at school. Summer is doing like a psychology report. He is kind of the guinea pig for her project. So they're paired up for that. He has no interest in being a part of it, but when he meets Summer and realizes that she's actually really sweet, really cool, and he's totally into her, he of course is totally game for it. She is somebody who hates hockey because of who her dad is. Little teaser there for you. So the dynamic there is really interesting because she despises hockey and then of course is paired up with this hockey player to do her project, which he is not taking seriously, so it pisses her off, and she hates that he plays hockey because she doesn't like it because of her own family issues, and he doesn't want to do it because he just wants to play hockey, doesn't understand why he's being punished, but he is starting to like her a little bit more. This is totally he falls first and harder. 10 out of 10 trope. 10 out of 10. I loved this book so much and nobody ever talks about it and I adored it. I'm gonna kind of use this as like a transition. Mile High by Liz Tomford. This is a part of the Windy City series. I read this like last August. I know a lot of people don't love this book because the main male character is a bit toxic, a bit mean, a bit rude, kind of an asshole, a dick, and nobody really likes him. This series is following all of these Chicago sports teams. So the first one is the hockey team and it follows the MMC, who's a bit of an asshole like I said, and the FMC, who is one of the flight attendants for the hockey team's private jet. So Forced Proximity, he loves to piss her off. She hates him because he's very annoying and he is purposefully trying to piss her off and kind of not make jokes of her job. He pushes the flight attendant call button for like stupid things just to kind of get under her skin. And then she ends up giving it back to him. Really interesting dynamic here. I love seeing the banter. I understand why people didn't like this book because of him, but I will say he does have a bit of a turnaround, and I do like his story in the rest of the series. This series is very similar to Hannah Grace's works, where every book has kind of a different element that it's followed, but it's under the same series. So the next book in the series is The Right Move, and this follows the FMC of the first book's brother Ryan and the FMC of the first book's best friend Indy. Indy needs somewhere to stay after she has a breakup with her long-term boyfriend, and she ends up moving in with her best friend's brother. Very interesting trope here. Forced Proximity here, he really does not want her there, but he's like, you know what, I'm gonna be at basketball practice, games, traveling, so it's fine, I don't care, and you are my sister's very good friend, so just stay out of my stuff, here are the rules, I don't care anymore. The things that he does for this girl after saying that he does not care, 10 out of 10, chef's kiss. I need to reread this book. Everybody that said they didn't like Mile High read The Right Move, and then suddenly everybody was obsessed. Then the final book in the series so far is Caught Up. I will say I didn't love this book. It follows a baseball player, not my cup of tea. I don't really care for baseball in any way. Okay, this was cute though. It's a single dad trope, so if you like that, I would recommend it. Kai and Miller. And Miller is a bit of an edgier kind of girl. She has like tattoos, piercings, and like, he's really interested in that, okay? He makes note of her piercings, her nose ring, her appearance in good ways all the time. Maybe that's why I got tired of it. But I know a lot of people really enjoyed this book. I don't love a single dad trope and I don't like baseball. So I didn't love this book, but it still was entertaining. And I would recommend it. Enough people have said that it's good for me to recommend it to you, just not my personal favorite, but I read it and I did like it. This one, I feel like some people are gonna be like, it's not a sport, it's not a sport. In the book it said it's a sport, so I'm going to say that it is. Check and Mate by Ali Hazelwood. This is her first YA book. I enjoyed it. I think I gave it a 4-star. Some people did not because they didn't think that it fit the YA category. I don't really know what classifies it. There was a little bit more sexual talk in here, which is why people are like, this is not YA. If you like Ali Hazelwood's writing and you like chess, have fun with this one. It's very chess heavy. I felt like it was more chess heavy than it was romance. Maybe people like that. If you like chess, here you go. This is a rivals to lovers romance. Really interesting trope there, as well as the fact that chess heavy. Wasn't expecting that one. But basically, this follows Mallory and Nolan, who both play chess, grew up playing chess. Mallory was really great and was kind of obsessed with this Nolan guy who was winning these championships. She was like, there's no way this is like the best chess player in the world. This is ridiculous. She stops playing chess because of personal reasons. That's how it always goes in these books. She ends up having this charity match that she's in, and she ends up beating Nolan and then being like, okay, whatever, never playing chess again. And he shows up like finds her one day and is like, how did you beat me? And also, can we be like partners? Can we train together? Can we work together so that we can continue to beat all of these people and like win this money? And she's like, you know what, I need to pay for some stuff, so sure, why not? So they end up working together. I will say I did like this book more than I was expecting. I've only read a few of Ali Hazelwood's books. I wasn't a huge fan of them, but I actually did really like this one. Some people didn't because they thought that it was in the wrong genre, the wrong like age category. I don't want to speak too much on that because I don't want to sound stupid or wrong, but I liked this book and that's all that matters, and I recommend it. And that's another thing that matters very heavily here. The last book I'm going to be recommending to you guys is very fitting for Super Bowl weekend, and that is The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. I've talked about this book, preached about it a million times. It is a best friends to lovers book, which is just a 10 out of 10 trope for me. It follows Nathan. He is an NFL player and his best friend Bree is an ex-dancer, and she teaches at a studio, but money's a little bit tight and she's struggling to afford rent, and the things that he does to make sure that she can pay her rent and afford things and live a happy life, 10 out of 10 recommend. I'm obsessed with this man. That's all I'm gonna say. I will add, he has to fake date her because she accidentally said some things that brought some attention to him. The public is like, oh my god, are these two together? So they kind of have to play into it to make him look really great. A little bit of fake dating for you. Best friends to lovers. He does everything that she asked and is basically on his hands and knees for this girl. I love him. I think he's great, and I think all men should be like that. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you gained something from this video, maybe some book recommendations, because that's what the whole point was. If you have read any of these books or you have any book recommendations for me or other people watching this video that you want to leave in the comments, definitely do that. Thank you guys very, very much for watching, and I will see you guys when I see you. Peace and love and happy reading.